Okay, after we talk about the situation about the output price and the equilibrium in the short run for a firm, then we can talk about when there's some change in the perfect competition market in demand and supply side as technological changes, as there is some kind of technological advances. Okay, so first of all, a decrease in demand. When there is a decrease in demand, okay, the firms will find out that equilibrium price will be lower because a decrease in demand shift market demand curve leftward, and the market price and the equilibrium quantity decreases. Okay, so starting from a long run equilibrium, right now firms make economic loss. We know that. In the long run, finally firms will break even. So in that case, it means it will make firms has an incentive to exit. The following diagram, point 10, illustrate the situation. When there is a decrease in market demand curve, shift to the left from D1 to D2, and the market price falls, and then the marginal revenue for a firm decreases, and now the firm is suffering a loss. So right now, each firm chose to decrease the quantity it produces. However, because it's suffering the economic loss, okay, it's lower than the minimum average total cost, the firms has incentive to exit the market, just as we introduced in the last section. So this kind of exit behavior will decrease market supply curve, and the market supply curve will shift to the leftward. Okay, which means that, as we can see that in the new diagram, the equilibrium will go up to the original equilibrium price, but right now the quantity, the market equilibrium quantity reduces. So eventually, the firms will exit the market. Eventually, enough firms have exited the market, so the market equilibrium goes back to the original equilibrium price with a lower equilibrium quantity. Then it will go back to the original case, and right now, every firm existing in the market will choose to increase the quantity it produces. So again, we can see upward sloping and goes back to the break-even point, and finally it will make the economic profit go back to zero. At the break-even point, firms has no incentive to exit the market. Right now, every firm chose to produce at the lowest point of average total cost, make them break even. Okay? So, the main difference right now, we know that the main difference between the initial and the new long-run equilibrium is that the numbers of firms in the market are different. Take part B, the original and the new equilibrium for one firm's choice is the same. But in part A, we are going to say that although the market price is the same, the total quantity reduced because this decrease in demand decreased the number of firms in the market. Okay? The numbers of firms are less, but each firm produces the same equilibrium quantity. On the other side, if we experience an increase in demand, we are going to find out the exactly opposite effect to those we have just described. An increase in demand shifts demand curve to the right, so which means that causes market equilibrium price and quantity goes up. So firms now make economic profit and will induce new firms to enter into the market. Then the short-run market supply curve will shift rightward because more firms are entering. And as more firms are entering and the market supply curve shifts to the right, the price will starting to fall. And as long as the equilibrium price is higher than original price, the firms has the incentive to enter until it goes back to the initial equilibrium price. So, initial equilibrium price equals to the minimum level of average total cost, which is the break-even point. At this point, firms make zero economic profit. So there's no incentive for new firms to enter the market. So in the new equilibrium, a large number of firms produce the equilibrium quantity. The only difference between initial equilibrium and the new equilibrium is that there are more firms in the market, but everyone still chose the same amount of output, which is the minimum ATC quantity. Okay, we have talked about the change in demand side. Then we go back to change in the supply side. When there's technological advances in supply side, change the supply, we can also find out the similar outcome. Starting from the long-run equilibrium, when new technology becomes available, which reduces production cost, the firms right now can make economic profit. Compare that previously, it break-even makes economic profit is zero. But this kind of technology will attract more firms to adopt it, and the market supply will increase and the price will fall, just as the previous analysis. Right now? Okay, then in 10.11, the figure 10.11, part A, we shows the market, part B, we shows the firm that using the original old technology. And right now, at the beginning point, they are make zero economic profit. However, when there's a new technological become available, the ATC and MC curves will shift downward sloping, as shown in part C of the figure. And firms that use the new technology make economic profit. See? So they are making economic profit, which makes the old firms want to use the new technology to increase its economic profit. Okay, so then makes the supply curve of market increase and shift to the right. So, because in that point, with a low price, old technology firms incurs economic loss. Some firms will exit the market if they cannot adopt new technology, and others will switch to the new technology as the new firms. Okay? Then, all firms eventually are using new technology. Then the market supply has increased, and the firms will make zero economic profit because it eventually will go down for the market price to the breaking-even price. And every firms, again, they are producing the output at long run at the lowest point of ATC. Also, we call it the minimum efficient scale for a firm who can produce in the long run. So, this is the section of changes in demand and supply. And finally, in the next and the last section, we are going to talk about competition and efficiency.